Good morning, everybody. So today is September 11th. As you know, we took our test yesterday. So today is, we're starting our Unit 1, first day of Unit 1. And you should be watching this video on Edpuzzle. Just as a reminder, this exit ticket and Edpuzzle is due at 5 p.m. today. Today our standard is going to be about fluently adding and subtracting multi-digit decimals using the standard algorithm. We'll do multiplying and dividing at a later time. Our vocabulary for today are decimals, decimal point, sum, and difference. And it's very important to note that for sum is the answer to an addition problem, and difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. We'll be answering word problems today in our exit ticket, so those will be very important to remember. Our objectives, so Knights will be able to add and subtract multi-digit decimals. Knights will be able to add and subtract multi-digit decimal word problems. All right, let's go ahead and get started with our first example.
Let's see if we can add 9.087 to 15.31. And I encourage you to pause the video and try to do it on your own. So I'm assuming you have tried to do it on your own, and now let's see how we could actually tackle this. Now, one thing I want to point out, some of you all might see these numbers all lined up and immediately want to say, hey, 7 plus 1 is 8, and 8 plus 3 is 11, carry the 1, etc., etc. And if you did that, you would be making a mistake. Because you see right over here, these decimals aren't lined up. Here, if you did that, you would be adding the 7 thousandths to 100ths. You would be adding 0 tenths to 5 ones. You would be adding 9 to 1 tens, or essentially this is a 10 right over here. So the places would be all mixed up. So what you need to do is actually align the decimals so that your place values are aligned. So what you want to do is you want to align things up. So we could write 9.087, and then we want to align the decimals. So let's align the decimal. This is what has to match up, and this is going to be 15.31. And this should hopefully make sense to you as well. This is 9 point something plus 15 point something. So it's going to be, if you add 9 to 15, it'll be 24 point something, give or take a little bit. So, and you see that here. Here you have a 9 plus the 15. So you've lined up the appropriate place values. And now we are ready to add. It's a good idea to start with the smallest place value. So if you have any extra in a certain place, you can bring something into the next place value. So here you say 7 plus, this is 7 thousandths. It's in the thousandths place. And you might want to, you say, well, what do I add it to? There's no thousandths right over here. And you're right, there are no thousandths. So we could literally write 0 thousandths. So 7 thousandths plus 0 thousandths is 7 thousandths. 8 hundredths plus 1 hundredth is 9 hundredths. 0 plus 0 tenths plus 3 tenths is 3 tenths. We got our decimal. Then you have 9 ones plus 5 ones is 14 ones. Well, 14 ones is the same thing as 4 ones and 1 10. So we'll carry that 1 right over there. This is just 1 10 plus 4 ones is 14. And so then finally you have 1 10 plus another 10 is 2. So we get 24.397.
Next, we have an example with subtracting decimals.
We need to calculate 9.005 minus 3.6, or we could view it as 9 and 5 thousandths minus 3 and 6 tenths. Now, whenever you do a subtracting decimals problems, the most important thing, and this is true when you're adding decimals as well, is you have to line up the decimals. So this is 9.005 minus 3.6 minus 3.6. So we've lined up the decimals, and now we're ready to subtract. So now we can subtract. So we start up here. We have 5 minus nothing. You can imagine this 3.6, or this 3 and 6 tenths. We could add 2 zeros right here, and it would be the same thing as 3 and 600 thousandths, which is the same thing as 6 tenths. And when you look at it that way, you say, okay, 5 minus 0 is nothing, and you just write a 5 right there. Or you could have said, if they had a nothing there, it would have been 5 minus nothing is 5. Then you have 0 minus 0, which is just 0. And then you have a 0 minus 6. And you can't subtract 6 from 0, so we need to get something into this space right here. And what we essentially are going to do is regroup. We're going to take 1, 1 from the 9. So let's do that. So let's take 1, 1 from the 9. So it becomes an 8. And we need to do something with that 1, 1. We're going to put it in the tens place. Now remember, 1 whole is equal to 10 tenths. This is the tens place. So then this will become 10. Sometimes it's taught that you're borrowing the 1, but you're really taking it, and you're actually taking 10 from the place to your left. So 1 whole is 10 tenths. We're in the tens place. So you have 10 minus 6. Let me switch colors. 10 minus 6 is 4. You have your decimal right there, and then you have 8 minus 3 is 5. So 9.005 minus 3.6 is 5.405.
Awesome. Just to go over those steps again real quick. So to add and subtract multi-digit decimals, you must line up the numbers using their place values. All of the same place values should be aligned, and the decimals should line up. Then you're just going to add or subtract just like you would the whole numbers. Always work from the right to left. Remember that, and carry tens when needed. And when you're approaching word problems, make sure that you read through the entire problem, circle numbers in the problems, and underline the key terms to determine the operations you will be using. And then you're going to solve just like you would if it weren't a word problem. Don't forget to take your exit ticket on Edge Elastic, and everyone have a great weekend.